On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Kamala Harris is trying to pull some fancy footwork here, but it's not going to work. Not even going to have a chance. In fact, she seems to be the one that's chicken, even though she's trying to say the shoe's on the other foot. It's going to be very interesting how this plays out because they don't have the machine that we have, and it's not going to work for them. Interesting how this is playing out. Also, we've got some disturbing information about how things are kind of working out in Iran. This is not looking good. I don't know. We're going to talk about that a little bit. Got some stuff around the Secret Service that is worthy of talking about. And again, just kind of doing this show because I've got a small little hiccup in my schedule this week. It'll make sense when it makes sense. But all that said, I thought I would try to go ahead and cut an extra show on Saturday because I need to. So we're going to start this off, well, mostly because I feel like this is kind of poking fun. Like I always tease the British for putting extra letters in our stuff right through, and they got O-U-G-H. They got all this shit in there that doesn't even belong. Well, I felt like this was a pretty good Gallagher scene where he's talking about words. He does this a lot.
Mostly things are strange in this world.
But
mostly we don't see them because we went to America.
Actually, pause it for a second and make this work. But yeah, I wanted to see.
Mostly things are strange in this world. Mostly we don't see them because we went to American shuls.
Yeah, I wanted to share this with you guys to make sure you can see where I think him and I are seeing the same thing. I don't know. I think it's funny. I think our language is hilarious. So anyway, please check this out. Hopefully you like it.
But mostly things are strange in this world. Mostly we don't see them because we went to American shuls. That's how they write it. That's how I'm going to say it. Sick and tired of all the ridiculous things I learned in shul. From the very beginning, the word one ought to start with a wah sound, and it don't have one. Don't have a wah in one. Why? There's a wah in why. There ain't no wah at the beginning of one. There's an E you don't need. But there ain't no wah in one. Then you look at two, there's a wah you don't even need. Could that be the wah from one that slipped down into two? That's why everybody's bored of education. They ought to call it Stress-Me Street.
I thought it was pretty funny. Again, yeah, just a funny guy. He's the one that breaks watermelons and stuff like that. It gets it's strange, makes a mess. There was one joke I was watching where he was saying some funny stuff with words and then spits his drink out all over everybody. It was actually a very funny bit, but anyway. Just want to kind of remind people of this. This was one of the weirdest, funniest, strangest things that happened back during 9/11. I'll never forget 9/11. For the different reasons than most of us. It was horrible how many people died. Don't even get me wrong for a second. What pisses me off more is that it was an inside job that killed Americans, and most people just couldn't and can't see it. What is also bothersome about the whole thing is what this points out. Remember that day when 4 planes crashed, but 0 plane parts were found? And they'd say crazy stuff like, yeah, but they incinerated. No, they can't. They don't. Some of these parts are made of titanium. They don't incinerate. They don't. You could drop them from space and they would still be intact, most likely. They might look scorched, but they'd probably still exist, especially the fan blades of planes' engines. So supposedly 4 planes crashed, especially the one that crashed in the middle of nowhere. That was my favorite one. Why? Because nothing existed that would exist. Every single plane crash that's ever happened, real ones anyways, especially large plane like this, there's luggage scattered everywhere. There's always the landing gear, you'll find that. There's the engines, you'll always find that. And then you usually see lots of fuselage. They tried to tell us that it sank into the mud. Those dudes are standing on it just fine. It's not like the earth's swallowing them up. But everybody believed that. I don't know if any of you guys believed that back then. You might have. But I want you to kind of remember how you were. And then think about our friends and neighbors today. There's so many people that want an "I told you so." You're never going to get it. Never, ever going to get it. Never 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 going to get it. Ever. Ever. Give up on it. Because what it comes down to is when people finally wake up, they don't want to acknowledge that they were idiots also. Shoot, I've been an idiot so many times in my life, I can't even tell you, and I've been awake my whole life. Doesn't matter. But no one wants to admit that. It's just funny. No plane parts found anywhere, but people justified it, and people believed it. Elon Musk said he discussed with Trump the idea of thinning down the government. Oh, that was really cool. Check this out over here.
It's illegal 6 ways to Sunday to build high-speed rail in America.
I wish you could just like for a week go into Washington and like be the head of the committee for making, what is it, for the garbage collection, making government smaller, like removing stuff.
I have discussed with Trump the idea of a government efficiency commission.
Nice. Yeah.
And I would be willing to be part of that commission.
I wonder how hard that is.
The antibody reaction would be very strong.
Yes. Yeah.
So you really have to. You're attacking the Matrix at that point. The Matrix will fight back.
How are you doing with that? Being attacked?
Me attacked?
Yeah. There's a lot of it.
Yeah, there is a lot. I mean, every day another psyop, you know.
How do you,
my tinfoil hat?
And what he says that's super correct is when you attack the Matrix, it attacks back. That is what we are doing. This is not about Democrat and Republican. I can't stress that enough. It's not a party thing at all. It's not even close. This is literally the whole entire control mechanism that's been used against the human race is being systematically destroyed right in front of our eyes. Many of us are consciously involved in it. Most people have no effing clue what's happening. They're still caught up in the election. We're in a weird time, and Musk gets it. Thank God. This is weird. So it's like a deal got made. The boxer lady and the boxer man fighting as a lady. Another boxer man fighting as a lady too, by the way. I'm sure they're going to both end up fighting each other, which is going to be somewhat funny. Two dudes fighting each other in a women's match. Won't even be women around anymore, but we'll see which one of these effeminate men is stronger than the other effeminate man. Okay, we'll see how that plays out. But Angela Carini, she issued an apology for not shaking Khalif's hand. Like when he tried to shake her hand after the fight, after he beat her face once, and she's like, ouch, that hurts. Went over and yelled at her coach, dude, that hurts. And then she's like, no, done, I'm not doing it. So he didn't shake her hand. And then she kneeled and cried or prayed, I don't know, combination of things. So she issued an apology after that controversy. Insanity. Now, the IBA is going to award Angela Carini of Italy with the Olympic champion prize money. This is interesting. The IBA is the International Boxing Association. It feels like it's irritable bowel something, right? But I think that's IBS. Too close for comfort, in my opinion. Irritable bowel ass. But they're going to award Angela Carini, who abandoned the fight against Algeria's Ayman Khalif at Paris in 2024 games after 46 seconds of the first round. The IBA prize money is as if the Olympic champion. So, I don't know. We'll see. She refused to continue to fight, yada, yada. She felt bad for not shaking his hand. She comes out and apologizes. The IBA says what it says. Somebody said, so a deal was made. And I think that almost seems like that's the case. And again, it is so hard for people to understand this is a control mechanism. They are trying to push their satanic thing. They have to do it right in front of us. They've got to make it normal. And if they can accomplish that, then they would have taken over and transitioned this entire planet into a planet of darkness. It's not happening. It's not working. But they're still going about things the way they always have. Again, most people simplify what's happening way too much. Even if it is a movie we're watching, I don't think we truly understand and appreciate the depths to which this movie is actually happening. There's multi-dimensions to this movie. It's powerful. Here's Caitlyn Jenner, the Wheaties box dude that's a woman now because she married one of the Kardashians and somehow got weirded. However that played out, she still makes sense. And she's also talking about why Trump is the only way out of this.
XX you're with the women. XY,
Yeah.
you're with the men. It's got to come down to that, and because honestly, this issue has hurt the Olympic Games so much because everybody's talking about it.
Right.
And we have had tremendous performances. And what's happening now? Just a couple of days ago, what was it? Title IX went into law.
Right.
Okay, because Joe Biden, I think illegally, tried to change Title IX, putting trans women, biological men, with Title IX protection.
Exactly, which is absolutely wrong. What would you do with this?
Kamala Harris hasn't said anything, but she doesn't.
But she
doesn't
believes
do
the same
media.
way. She has in the past. Her California record is the same way. California schools will not notify parents about their gender issues.
Absolutely. And who's the only one that says we have to protect women's sports?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Again, important to point out that if there were no intervention like we are trying to do, literally, women's sports would be taken over by men. Completely. And what I love, especially, is the Democrat Party are the ones that constantly, people members of, because they're the ones that break everybody down into their little box. What's your little identity? What do you fit into? What's your little special box? And the problem is all the boxes they're so concerned about, they're jacking an entire section of boxes. Women. They're bitching about how they don't get paid the same amount, how they're not treated, how they don't get the same opportunities. And here you are allowing men into your sports who will be better than you. Period. And then maybe biology will make sense to the people that are crazy right now. Because they're women, but for some reason they're significantly more powerful. That's strange. It's just going to become the B side of male sports. Like any good male athlete, they'll be in actual male sports. Any decent male athlete, they'll become transgender and be a woman's athlete. People are supporting this. People literally are supporting this. They're like, that's because I don't want to offend anybody. All right, your entire sex is going to be washed out. And a lot of the people in the progressive movement are freaking females. I would have to say it's got to be more than 50%. I'm sure there's plenty of soy boys in there, don't get me wrong, and they deserve, every bit of hell they get for it. I don't even care. They're also the same way, afraid to say what's right, afraid to stand up. They're the type of person that would pull out a camera and start filming somebody getting beat up rather than try to help. It's a weird time. That's all I can say. California judge has granted immunity for Biden. Sorry, what was that movie? Swordfish. Oh my God! Not only is that an awesome, epic movie when it comes to action movies, one of the best action movies out there. Swordfish is also a great movie with Halle Berry in it, topless. Oh man! California judge has granted immunity to Halle Biden to testify against Hunter Biden in his upcoming criminal trial next month. She was concerned about testifying because it would essentially incriminate herself, and they're like, all right, hang on. We're not going to bust you at all. How about that? Well, a little agreement right here. Hunter Biden, not really familiar with how those games played. He didn't sign it anyways. No one signed it. But she's going to get the ability to talk about Hunter Biden without getting in trouble, without getting busted. What we're also finding out, which is very interesting, especially when you factor in the 25th Amendment's almost assuredly going to happen. And by the way, stock prices aren't going to like that either. Hunter Biden is going to be sentenced on November 13th. The election will have already happened by then. Now, again, the deep state will still technically be in control almost no matter how that plays out. So will they pardon him at that point? Maybe, probably. We'll see. Harris doesn't like Biden. Biden hates Harris and everybody involved in this, especially those that 25th Amendment him. So will Kamala Harris necessarily want to pardon Hunter, or will she almost find joy in the fact that he's actually going to go to jail? Possibly. We'll see. They're going to start eating their own, trust me. They already are. This is where we sit back and enjoy the show for the most part. Elon talking about why he's on Team Trump. Pretty cool as well.
Since I am interviewing Donald Trump.
Cool.
You want to stop by?
Yeah, sure. I'll stop in.
There was tragically an assassination attempt on Donald Trump. After this, you tweeted that you endorse him. What's your philosophy behind that endorsement? What do you hope Donald Trump does for the future of this country and for the future of humanity?
People tend to take, like, say, an endorsement as, well, I agree with everything that person has ever done their entire life 100% wholeheartedly. And that's not going to be true of anyone. But we have to pick, we've got two choices really for who's president. And it's not just who's president, but the entire administrative structure changes over. And I thought Trump displayed courage under fire, objectively. He's just got shot. He's got blood streaming down his face, and he's like fist pumping, saying "fight." Like that's impressive. Like you can't feign bravery in a situation like that. Like most people would have been ducking. There would not be, because it could be a second shooter. You don't know. The president of the United States got to represent the country, and they're representing you. They're representing everyone in America. Well, like you want someone who is strong and courageous to represent the country. That's not to say that he is without flaws. We all have flaws. But on balance, and certainly at the time, it was a choice of, Biden, poor guy, has trouble climbing a flight of stairs. The other one's fist pumping after getting shot. This is no comparison. I mean, who do you want dealing with some of the toughest people and, other world leaders who are pretty tough themselves? And I'll tell you, like, what are the things that I think are important? I think we want a secure border. We don't have a secure border. We want safe and clean cities. I think we want to reduce the amount of spending that we're, at least slow down the spending. Because we're currently spending at a rate that is bankrupting the country. The interest payments on U.S. debt this year exceeded the entire Defense Department spending. If this continues, all of the federal government taxes will simply be paying the interest. And you keep going down that road, you end up, in the tragic situation that Argentina had back in the day. Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous places in the world. And hopefully with Milei taking over, he can restore that. But it was an incredible fall from grace for Argentina to go from being one of the most prosperous places in the world to being very far from that. So I think we should not take American prosperity for granted. So we really want to, I think we've got to reduce the size of government, we've got to reduce the spending, and we've got to live within our means.
One of the largest arguments that they're going to hit us with, by the way, when this starts to happen, and it's going to be into President Trump's term, probably very early on, they're going to tell us, oh my God, millions of jobs will be lost. All these government jobs, you're shutting down all these government jobs. All these people that have families are going to suffer and struggle. They're not going to have jobs. First off, you're right. Second off, awesome. Third off, here's what I recommend. We create a fund, maybe even a small group for a time being, set a short period of time, but a group that tries to help, like, shuffle these people into normal society, into normal jobs. Maybe they have to give them some job training, right? Like, I'd be up for that. I literally would be okay spending even a chunk of money to help get these people back into the regular workforce. But here's the big difference, and here's what a lot of people on the left don't understand. A government job is solely paid by people who have outside government jobs, them paying taxes and some other stuff, but mostly them paying taxes is what pays for a government job. Now, I know a lot would say, but government people, when they work, they pay taxes. Yes, but your entire 100% of your income, including the tax money, was from taxpayers. 100% of it. In some cases, all right, a little different, but let's just keep it easy. And then, yeah, you pay back your 20, 30, 40%, whatever the hell it is. Well, it's still taxpayer money getting double taxed now. That's even worse, frankly. This is what they're going to cry. One of the things they're going to cry about. We need to shrink the government. I'm not just like one of these people that thinks government should be small, though I do completely. But we can't continue the way we're going. It is impossible. One, the Federal Reserve's got to go. I don't know how that part plays out. I really don't. I got assumptions, and I've banked on it to a degree. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's worked out well for me. I'm not complaining about the choice. I just don't know for sure what happens. Here's something that'll blow a lot of people's minds right here. And this probably affected things, but no one would have thought this. But why? This is the big question. And I have a hunch. Warren Buffett, his Berkshire Hathaway, I think he's the largest or second largest. I think he's the largest investor. He sold off half of his Apple stock. Half of his Apple stock got sold off. Now, I would assume they chose shares that they'd owned the longest, would be my assumption. Well, sorry, maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, well, no, you'd probably hold those ones the longest. I take it back. The lower the price that you bought it at, those are probably the ones they held. The higher the price that you bought it at, those would be the ones you'd sell probably because you want to get rid of those because you know the stock's going to take a hit. And the question would be why? Going into political season, and I again, this isn't because I dislike Apple, folks. I don't like Apple for so many reasons. It doesn't matter. And I know you guys that love your Apple phones and your Apple computers and all. It's fine. It's awesome. I used an Apple IIa when I first started in school, 5th grade. We had one because I went to a nice school, and we had one. So I get it. I totally get it. And it used to be one of the best computers. In fact, they made their own processors at one point. They were the fastest. Their throughput was significantly faster than an Intel chip. It was way better. And for a sound person, I was all in until Apple stopped making their own chips, which was forever ago. And they just started using Intel chips. All right, well, now you're just douches because now you're using the same, the thing that you said that made you different anyways, made you better, is gone. Now it's just your OS. And I'm like, who cares? Who cares where the little things are whatever. So why would Apple's stock take a hit? Any guesses? Biggest one I've got is the fact that one, their iPhones, they're not producing anything since Jobs died. They haven't come up with shit. And here's the thing, a lot of people are invested in this, by the way. Your 401k guarantee invested in this. When he sold half his stock, that affected the price, by the way. But we also know that Apple in the past has removed apps from people's phones, literally. Removed the app, not only from the App Store, but from your phone. They control your phone. Your phone. Mine's not. Okay? Mine may not be as sexy and everything, but they don't control it. So why does he do... Again, I'm not trying to freak all you all out. It's not like that. And it's not because I hate Apple. It's because there are some deep state companies that when the going gets tough, they're going to lock things down. And this election cycle will be the wildest, craziest one ever. I've talked about YouTube. I feel bad for all these YouTube creators that didn't figure it out. You've had multiple chances. You had COVID, you had the last election, and I don't know, there's probably one other thing too, that you've talked about and gotten strikes and gotten in trouble, lost your monetization, and yet you're still there. You're still banking on this platform. Some of us, granted, got kicked off. I finally created another channel. It's, 1,600 people. Woo! But I don't care about it. It's not monetized, and I'm never going to. Rumble's where I'm at. Rumble's where I put my heart. BitChute, for sure. And then I'm Odyssey and Brighteon and Frank's Speech. Like, I'm on a few places. Dude, it's Rumble 100%. BitChute I have huge love for, so I'll always carry these two with me. Odyssey's actually surprisingly cool, but it's just not as popular as it could be. It's actually really cool. They have really high quality. And then on top of that, there's like this weird little, like watching videos get you money. And there's this weird little experience with that. It's kind of fun. If you can find one of your favorite artists over there, I'd recommend just following, just maybe to help the platform. But again, it's an interesting time, guys. And I know I spent a long time on that, but what's going on in the world is kind of a trip, and I don't think a lot of people get it. Dow, S&P 500, NASDAQ had the worst session since 2022 on Friday. I didn't realize I figured it was going to bump back up, and it did to some degree. But they had the really bad jobs numbers. It was 0.2%. To a lot of people, that's like, it's 0.2%. It's like, you don't understand. That's hundreds of thousands of jobs that didn't happen. Now, again, I talked about it then. Government jobs like 17,000 or something like that, and they're expected to be much higher than that. Sweet. Fewer government jobs being created is an excellent thing for the big picture. But things are in uncertain times for a reason. This, I feel like, you guys tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But this can't get blamed on Trump. Directly, anyways, right? Any sort of bad thing that goes down can't get blamed on Trump. So that means that by the time Trump's in office, a lot of things have to have had started. Trump can finish it. He can fix it. This can be their evil to him, like, ha, bastard, we burned all the oil wells. And Trump's going to be like, all right, well, we'll put them out and we'll fix everything. We'll make America great again, and the world for that matter. But this is what they're most likely going to do. I don't know. You guys tell me I'm wrong. But here's the thing. In my mind, this is one of those, like, it's like 90% probability that they're going to be kicking it in some way like that. That they're going to jack the economy. They're going to jack as much stuff as they can. They're going to steal as much money as they can. Like, so things like cash and things like, bank accounts. There's just so many things where it's like, you're kind of at risk. That's why, for me, I don't set up a lot of auto pays and stuff like that, because just the fewer people you give permission to steal from you, the better. And I've also been burned heavily. Things are going to change in some way. We don't know. But I'm telling you what, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, specifically, a 401k or an IRA in their system, you're like with Fidelity or whoever you might be with, right? You're in their system. So one, it's tagged to stocks. There's a huge bubble. It's 4 or 5 years past popping. It's expected to be pretty bad. When companies get called out for their snafus, they get hit hard. CrowdStrike, I think, went down 20% that one day they had that outage. I think they gained some of it back, but more bad news is coming. Wait, you are in a place where you're tied to something that literally, and it's usually deep state companies, that could literally change overnight. And you are not going to find out about it beforehand. Never. You will lose wealth overnight. Now, they would always say, yeah, but it comes back and you only lose money if you sell. Here's where I come at it from. If you get out before the bad thing happens, then you don't really lose at all. You cash out while you're high, and you move over to something that's actually outperforming the stock market in value hugely. Stock market's gone down significantly in value, meaning inflation's happened so much that the dollar's worth so little that the stock market's kind of gone up a little bit, but not relative to inflation. So you've lost buying power. Essentially, you've lost money. But you've lost wealth is a better way to look at it. You've lost buying power. Gold's not. Gold's positive. Gold's actually gained buying power. Precious metals right now are doing exceptionally well. Silver's undervalued. It's expected to do some crazy stuff. No promises, but the expectation is it's multipliers. And gold's got a long way to go. People have talked some huge numbers there too. I don't know. It just sounds crazy, but the way things are going, entirely possible. DRS. likesgold.com. DRS likesgold.com. DRS likesgold.com. Get out of their system. 401k IRA, tax-free, penalty-free. You can go sideways into an IRA, precious metals IRA. Get your information. It's the kit. It's what they talk about. Get your kit, learn about it. 4 data points, and it's on its way to you. Now, if you act like you're going to click off the screen when you go to drslikesgold.com, if you act like you're going to click off the screen, it'll actually pop this thing up. If you've actually got a 401k or an IRA that's got some value in it, I don't think it's a huge amount that's required, put in your 4 points into this thing, because you're going to get a free half-ounce silver coin on top of everything else. So just kind of a way of saying thank you and how serious they are about trying to help you guys make choices to get your wealth moved to a place that's going to go up, not down. DRSlikesgold.com, DRSlikesgold.com. If you're sitting on some extra cash right now, $5,000, $2,000, $10,000, $100,000, if you've got some cash that maybe you were thinking of putting into some sort of, bank thing where it gets higher interest, I've got a little money put aside like that too. If you're thinking about leaving some of that there, you might want to consider maybe buying some gold, because it's actually going up in value. Probably better than the percentages you're getting on the cash that's losing value every single day. Okay? If it's going up 4% a year, awesome, or 4% a month, great. But inflation right now is at 3%. So it's really like 1% at best that you're gaining in value. Gold's doing way better than that. Way better. drslikesgold.com. I don't know how long we got to get out of this system. And again, I'm not trying to rush anybody. Just stay in it as long as you want if that's what feels right to you. But I'm telling you, for those of you that are like, should I? And you're like, God, I want to, but it's such an extreme thing to do. Yeah, I get that. I do. Think about it for sure. Ask questions. Goldco's awesome like that. Ask questions. But yeah, you're talking about saving what you've got left and putting it into something that's actually moving upwards because of what's happening. You're actually parking some money in the right place for what's about to go down. And then after that, you can move it into something else if you need. drslikesgold.com. drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system, seriously, before they get out of you, and it'll be worse. Former President Jimmy Carter is nearing his 100th birthday. Now, all of a sudden, even though recently they've been saying he's been sleeping all day, he sometimes doesn't wake up even in the day. Literally, all this news has come out. Now, all of a sudden, he's somewhat awake. And he's like, yeah, I want to see Kamala beat Trump. Yeah, so now they're shoving their hands up Jimmy Carter's ass and like, gah, 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 gah. Like, and Biden's next to him, and they're playing the same song, and Weekend at Bernie's works in both these bastards. That's insane. This can't be correct. What crazy ass song? Let me see. Who? AJC. What the hell is that? AJC Politics. Don't even know who they are, but they're obviously not trustworthy. That's some bullshit information, but whatever. Who cares? DNC chair says majority of delegates have voted to give Harris the Democratic nomination. So they're all in. This is who they're running against us. Now, they're trying to make it seem like she's the hottest thing since India, where she comes from. Even though she's from the north, it's not nearly as bad, but I've got friends that live down there right now in like Mumbai and stuff. It's stupid hot right now, or it was. They're in monsoon season now. Whatever, it's too much. But they're all in on her. She was woefully unpopular. She had to drop from the presidential election. She couldn't get over 9%. Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her. And she's who they're banking on. So they're creating a lot of noise, a lot of this like, hey, everybody loves her. It's not true. It's the propaganda people telling you this. And they're telling you this because they want you to believe it. They want you to be scared not to go vote. Most of us don't vote. That's the problem. Most of us don't vote. Well, it doesn't matter. I don't really would. Yeah, no, it matters, unfortunately, a lot. So did Kamala Harris's VP pick get leaked? There's supposedly some heads rolling right now because she wasn't supposed to say this till next week. She wanted to do it in the proper press cycles, but it ended up getting buried in a weekend on accident. I mean, yeah, that's totally funny.
Kamala hasn't officially named her pick for VP just yet. It could happen as soon as this weekend. But the cat might be out of the bag, courtesy of the mayor of Philadelphia, who may or may not have accidentally posted this video on her Instagram.
I can't think of a better partner than our Governor Josh Shapiro.
We're getting behind Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris?
Kamala Harris for president. And Josh Shapiro.
Josh Shapiro?
Josh Shapiro for vice president. Now we need you.
What does the mayor know that we don't? Well, the Harris campaign gave us a no comment, and the Philly mayor is trying to play it off like they meant to post the video. It's not an announcement, it's an endorsement, they said. But according to a Philly journalist, Ernest Owens, somebody is in big trouble. He says that a staffer on the Philly mayor's campaign was supposed to upload the video on Monday, but he pushed the wrong button. Oops. Makes sense. Shapiro was the front runner anyway. Kamala needs Pennsylvania if she wants to win. But Shapiro's got skeletons in his closet. He's accused of paying $300,000 to a former staffer to make a sexual harassment situation with his advisor go away. Did he just pay hush money to win an election? And now the National Women's Defense League is urging Harris not to pick him. Is that going to stop Kamala from picking him? Who knows? But there's an old saying in the TV business, you can't kill a story if you've teased it. And Shapiro's officially been teased. National Press Secretary for the Trump campaign, Carolyn Levitt, joins me now. Carolyn, congratulations. First of all, I heard you had a baby.
Thank you, Jesse. Thank you very much. I sure did. I'm just hoping he doesn't cry upstairs while I'm on your show right now.
We've heard that in the background just from guests, sometimes on primetime. So Shapiro, that not kind of a, they can't even do a VP rollout? What happened here?
Yikes. Well, this video was certainly a mistake, but since they teased Shapiro, I think it's very important that voters at home understand who Josh Shapiro is. Just like Kamala Harris, he is a far-left Democrat. There is not much daylight between these two records. When Josh Shapiro was Attorney General and as governor of Pennsylvania, he's been incredibly soft on crime. We know Kamala Harris wants to defund the police. Josh Shapiro has repeatedly voted to raise property taxes in the Commonwealth. We know Kamala Harris wants to continue to increase our taxes, even on top of her record high inflation crisis. And Josh Shapiro is anti-American energy. In fact, he said he wants to criminalize the oil and gas companies in this country. Imagine what that will do to good paying jobs in Pennsylvania. If you want to know what a Shapiro-Harris America would look like, just look at the streets of San Fran, where Kamala comes from. Look at the streets of Philly. And Jesse, I will never forget the conversation that I had with a young woman named Tatiana. She's from Kensington, a neighborhood that has been devastated by the opioid crisis in the city of Philadelphia. She actually volunteered to be a motorcade driver for one of President Trump's rallies. And she told me living in Kensington is like living in a war zone. She showed me videos of her fellow citizens drugged out on the streets like lifeless zombies. Josh Shapiro owns that. He is responsible for that mess in Philadelphia, just like Kamala Harris is responsible for the mess she has created at the southern border, the increased crime and the increased inflation, thanks to she and Biden's disastrous agenda.
All right. It sounds like you've already got your Josh Shapiro notes down. He seems just to be as radical as she is. Not sure that's the greatest pick, but we're going to find out. And maybe we're wrong. Maybe it's Michelle Obama. We have no idea. Say hi to the baby for me.
I love how they're still saying that name too, right? Like, I think they want it to be, and maybe they will. Like, last minute they'll bring him in because Shapiro's not going to be popular. He's not going to. That ain't going to work. It's kind of funny. Donald Trump. No one ever called me racist until I ran for president. Here's with him, with countless black people all over the place, famous people, non-famous, like all over the place. So interesting. The NABG president, the National African Journalist thing, maybe? Trump interview delayed over fact-checking disputes, not audio. They're saying, even though they were having audio issues, and they confirmed that between the Fox lady and Trump, like, I can't hear either. So there was definitely audio problems. This is what the initial issue was. Trump had constant audio. If you watched any of the video of this, I've actually watched a bunch of it. I actually watched the whole damn thing, to be honest with you. Accidentally, it started to loop again. I was like, wait, what? Starting over? Fudge. So anyway, yeah, I started to watch it again, actually. So they are claiming now that, no, they were trying to fact check something, and Trump wasn't going to go on stage if they were going to fact check it. Like, making shit up. Trump won't go on stage. We're going to fact check it. Fact check it to his face, dude. I guarantee you Trump will take a fact check into his face, and he'll be like, no, you're not actually correct, and here's what's up, and you probably got that from fake news. Like, right? Like, so again, this is what they're trying to do. This is the president. They're pissed off that Trump went into their waters and swam like a dolphin. Even though dolphins don't really do that, but mine do. At least right now. So here is a lady on CNN not happy with the fact that this dude's calling out what Trump actually did. Trump is playing a fun little game. And so I'm gonna read this first because I don't know who posted this. This is .connect nonce, but I don't know if. So she said Trump used a persuasion technique called entering your illusion. Oh, this is like Scott someone. Anyway, Trump used a persuasion technique called entering your illusion when he questioned Harris's racial identity at the NABJ, and you can already see how well it worked. You'll see it in a second. Says, I've described this technique to my audience over the years. I've learned it when training to be a hypnotist, and I've used it successfully a number of times. It's a powerful tool. The method involves accepting the illusion you are trying to defeat and showing its absurdity by taking it to its obvious conclusion. Trump accepted the Democrat worldview that identity is the key variable, then casually discussed the incongruity of Harris in terms of her identity. And he did it in front of an audience organized by their identity. This particular persuasion will continue to sink in, to marinate, and to get more powerful over time. The losing play in this situation would have been to argue against using identity to choose candidates. That would be a non-starter. Instead, he entered their illusion and left a huge turd in the middle of their illusion living room. It was one of the best persuasion plays in political history, but it will take some time to see it do its magic. Now, I want you to kind of see them sort of even have a mini meltdown here as far as how this plays out. This is kind of funny.
So, to answer your question as it relates to that, you know, we all know when, you know, Vice President Kamala Harris ran for, you know, Attorney General, you know, and you can fact check me on this. News outlets said she's the first Indian American. She did run as Indian American, okay, and then she was chosen for the vice president nominee as the candidate for Joe Biden, and then he was told that you will get a black woman. So then she says, well, here is a black woman. So in all fairness, when she asked that question to President Trump, that's a valid, you know, answer, because that's based on her, where she was in her life, what she chose to be at that time. So that's where that answer comes in. So she's the one that did this. She's the one that
Hold on one second. I want to just make clear. I know we're on this panel.
But am I lying?
Excuse me, sir.
True?
Do not overtalk me. I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak. Excuse me.
Okay.
Do not overtalk me on my program.
Well,
I am trying to give.
Ear, so.
That's why, if you would allow me to speak, I would clarify the opportunities for each of you on the panel to have a chance to speak and have your own point heard to an audience who's eager and speaking with bated breath to hear your opinion. But you cannot talk over each other. I want everyone to hear. So when you hear this voice or this ding, ding, ding of the Laura Coates sound, please stop. Van, let me go to you.
All said, in the real reality of things, this was probably a 3, maybe a 5-minute segment. She just ate up 25 seconds having that little rant because this dude was just trying to be like, dude, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm out, right? Like somebody of color. I don't know if he's black per se. I don't know from where he originates. Doesn't matter, frankly, to me. I don't care. But obviously a very diverse group of people of one general race line. Interesting, right? And even there, they're acknowledging what Trump did. People are going to have a hard time appreciating what Trump's actually doing, especially white people, because we just don't understand shit. We don't. I mean, when it comes to other races, for the most part, we don't. But he's literally walking into the lion's den. I've learned persuasion techniques. It's not hard to manipulate people. It's very easy, in fact. Very easy to manipulate people. Trump isn't manipulating as so much as playing their own cards against them. He's like, I see your game. Okay, give me a hand. I've watched. I know how this works. And I'm bringing in some of this outside smartness. They're in a tough place right now. Tough place right now. A lot of corruption going on. Speaker Johnson put this out. For nearly 4 years, the Biden-Harris administration has refused to secure the border. We know why. And Fox News put this little out, this is responding to this. Harris's campaign shared a study touting electoral benefits of not deporting illegal immigrants. This was a show. They've actually got it linked back. This flashback, I guess I could open this. Wasn't, right? But her campaign shared a study touting the electoral benefits of not sending people back. They've talked about it. There's proof of it. She's probably saying it. I don't want to play it, but you get it. Internal Homeland Security report proves Biden-Harris Mayorkas, their CHNV parole program, that's the one where they fly people in here from other countries, Cuba, Venezuela, and a couple other communist countries. They fly them straight in here because then they don't count on the official numbers. Well, this thing was wrought. We talked about it on Friday. It was wrought with all sorts of fraud and theft and criminality, all sorts of stuff. People were stealing money, just a whole bunch of stuff. We don't know all the details, but a whole lot of things going on. Whole lot of things. So they stopped it. Well, FAIR has uncovered an internal DHS report exposing massive fraud in the illegal Biden-Harris. I brought this back up just to remind you guys of the story. The department has been rubber stamping parole applications as quickly as possible without verifying information provided by sponsors or parolees. The explosive new report has allegedly led to the quiet pause of the CHNV program. Let's call that a victory, folks. The internal review found evidence of fraud that includes the use of fake Social Security numbers, including SSNs of deceased individuals and the use of false phone numbers. Many applications listed the same physical address. Some 100 addressees were listed on over 19,000 forms, and many parole applicants applied from a single property, including a mobile park home, warehouse, and storage units. In addition, many applications were submitted by the same IP address, which would imply they're being done programmatically. If this weren't bad enough, the same exact answer to Form I-134A questions were provided on hundreds of applications. In some instances, the same answer was used by over 10,000 applicants. Something's not right. So what we found out, and what House of Homeland GOP is pointing out, they said this admission by the Biden-Harris administration vindicates every warning we have ever issued about the unlawful CHNV mass parole program. It also exposes the lie by administration officials, like now impeached DHS Secretary Mayorkas, about the quality and extent of the vetting process, not just for the inadmissible aliens seeking entry, but those attempting to sponsor them. We issued a subpoena last year to compel documents regarding this program, and while DHS partially complied, the department remains delinquent in producing certain documents and communications relating to the program. They're not following the law. It's 2 tiers of justice, and they don't like the fact that they're being questioned. This is exactly what happens when you create an unlawful mass parole program in order to spare your administration the political embarrassment and bad optics of overrun borders. The Biden-Harris administration should terminate the CHNV program immediately, says the Committee on Homeland Security. As Chairman Mark E. Green said this. Here is Chuck Calesto. He's developing over in the cafe, whatever the hell is. This is worth sharing. This was like a trip to me. Like, people that aren't here legally, there's a lot of people that believe that somehow they should get to vote. It's like they broke the law to come here. They're here as criminals, technically. And now you want to say you should be able to vote too? That's insane. Now, here's the thing. A lot of brainwashed people believe this because they watch the media that tells them every day that this is what that should be, this is what you should say. This is the answer that you give when somebody says, should illegals be able to vote? And you're like, totally. Or whatever, when you get your pink hair or purple hair. I don't know if your answer changes, but basically.
Do you think illegal immigrants should be able to vote?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're paying taxes and you're putting money into the economy for a country that you've lived at for over a decade, yes, I think you should have a voice in the people that are making rules on their life.
You kick us out, you better get a seat right next to us and buckle up. Because it's all of us or none of us.
Do you think illegal immigrants should be able to vote in this next election?
I do. They live in this country. They have a purpose being here. And every vote should count. Everybody should be able to have a place to speak, whether your documentation status. That shouldn't be affected because you're living in this country. So that's going to affect you whether you have documentation or not.
It's not legal for an illegal person to vote.
We know that the Constitution says only citizens can vote, and so everyone should have the opportunity to have a path to citizenship.
Why do you think they deserve those citizen rights?
Because they're human. We're all humans, and it's a basic human right. So, yeah.
So we had these protests here today, and it was all about immigration and citizens' rights. What do you think? A lot of people want to let them vote in the next election. Do you think they should be able to vote?
It should be open to interpretation. I think some people should be able to vote. I don't think you necessarily need to be a legal citizen.
I feel like everyone should have a right to vote. I mean, it's going to make an impact on who we want to be as president, as mayor, as councilor, so...
Even if they came in illegally, they should be able to vote?
Yeah. I think everybody needs a chance.
I feel like they're not really supposed to be in this. I mean, it's not like they're not supposed to be in this country. I'm not trying to say that. It's just like they're just not official.
Do you think all these folks that came across in the last few years should be able to vote in the next election?
I think that's too soon. I think that's too soon. That's totally too soon.
America's supposed to be great, so we have like all the resources and all the stuff. So as people who are supposed to come here, I feel like they need us for help. So yes, they should have a right to vote. We're supposed to be the people that make everything perfect.
Who do you think immigrants should vote for in the next presidential election?
And that's fine that they believe that. But this is, this is where a lot of they're all younger. And by the way, cheers to the dude for walking up to the dudes that were getting blazed, right? Because those dudes, they had different answers, actually. Except that one other guy, too. He maybe already got blazed. But they kind of, that's one thing that's funny about getting blazed is, you'll talk about the randomest things, and you could spend like you could have, it'll feel like 30 minutes, but it's actually like 3 in real life, but it'll feel like 30. That's the best part of it all. Yeah, your time just slows down. It's like, and you think it's normal. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, folks, there's a lot of people that don't get it. We have to kind of be the parent. You guys know how parents, right? Kids like do what they want. Who cares if they feel like they're a girl, right? Like you don't let your child get tattoos. You don't let your child just constantly eat junk food because that's what it says it wants. I say it because I don't know what sex your child might be. But we don't do that. Act Blue is actually finally getting investigated. We talked about this Wednesday-ish. Virginia AG demands Dem donor group Act Blue to answer for its fraud allegations. He was called out hardcore. It's like, dude, you're a Republican. Are you going to do anything about this? There's a bunch of people that are using people's lives, their addresses, their persona, and donating huge amounts of money on their behalf when they're not actually donating. So this dude's like, all right, he's looking into it. This is you guys' name deserves to come out because he's now the 3rd Attorney General that seems to be on the books. Virginia Attorney General Jason Miyares is demanding answers about allegations of fraudulent donations from Act Blue, a donation platform for Democratic politicians. So he's looking into it, trying to get some papers from them. He has a letter sent to them, I guess. My office has become aware of multiple serious allegations that Act Blue, Civic, Inc., and blah, 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 have engaged in fraudulent, deceptive, and or otherwise illegal activities in the Commonwealth of Virginia and have aided and abetted others in doing so. This includes hundreds of thousands of dollars of contributions through individual donors in the Commonwealth in volumes that are facially implausible and appear suspicious. Some of these Virginia donors are reported as making multiple daily contributions over the course of multiple years, amounting to tens of thousands of dollars in aggregate. He's looking into it. Hopefully we find out. A DDoS attack may target election infrastructure, FBI warns. Funny, because election infrastructure is not really supposed to be connected to the internet. At least the machines themselves aren't supposed to be. Now, what is interesting is this public service announcement is to raise awareness that distributed denial of service attacks, or DDoS, those attacks on election infrastructure or adjacent infrastructure that supports election operations could hinder public access to election information. We would not impact the security or integrity of election processes. We've talked frequently about how the deep state has to tell us essentially what they're going to do when they do evil stuff and take away our rights that exist. Here you go. So they're essentially saying, no matter what, guys, either A, you're going to give us the election the way we want it, or you're not going to have the election. Take your pick. Now, I think most of us are saying, well, no, to either of those choices. How about our option? And you'll figure out what that is when it happens. So we'll see. We'll see. Things are getting interesting. CISA and FBI both put these ominous warnings about potential election attack this fall. Here's the part of the bulletin that really concerns me. They say, this PSA is to raise awareness that the DDoS attacks on election infrastructure could hinder access to election information, but would not impact the security or integrity of election processes. What? What do they know an attack on an election... How do they know an attack on election infrastructure would impact election results in advance? Is this their plan? To have an attack that shuts down key election infrastructure, and then when everything comes back online, we all have to accept the results. And I'd bet those results will mysteriously support Kamala. If we reverse engineer their PSA, this looks like their plan. I'm just saying, DC Drano put this out, and he's right. Catherine Herridge has posted this. So she's talking about new judiciary GOP Quote, in light of serious allegations of professional misconduct levied against another one of Mr. Smith's team of attorneys, we again write to ask you what steps OPR, which is what the Office of, what the hell, where's OPR in here? Office of Professional Responsibility. Those people that kind of look into these guys and make sure they're being ethical and stuff. Two of these people now have been called out. So this one guy is being called out. Where is he? The first one that was involved with the Roger Stone case. I think that was the J.P. Cooney guy. Yeah, and then now we've got this other gentleman that they're calling into question. Having a find. Where is he? Down here, yes, Steve Cooney. Okay, so Cooney's the guy now. Jay Bratt was the other guy, Smith's top attorneys, Jay Bratt, in light of serious allegations. So these are the two guys that have been caught up in the middle of all this stuff, and they're both under Smith. So we've interestingly got a guy that wasn't put there legally or the proper way, doesn't seem to follow rules, and is constantly trying to bend the Constitution, and happens to have two people that, they've been caught up in all sorts of scandalous legal mischief type stuff. So, wow, isn't that interesting? Election red flag. Postal Service watchdog has warned that some mailed ballots may be delayed. They're preparing us for that, too. They said up to 2 to 3% of the time that mail was done for ballots, they didn't make it. Got lost, got burned, got whatever. I wonder how many of those were for Trump. Yeah. They're telling us what they're going to do, folks. We know what they're going to do. We know. The numbers have to be overwhelming. Overwhelming. I even voted in the last election. Last person I voted for prior to that was Ross Perot. Literally. Didn't vote for anything. Didn't care. Didn't think it mattered. Now it does. I'll be voting. I hate it. But I'll be voting. We have to. The numbers have to be overwhelming. Maybe in person. Maybe I do it by mail. We'll see. Don't know. I don't think it matters. Honestly, don't. But they're going to assume a lot of the mailed ballots are for the Democrat Party. So if we threw a bunch of ours in there, that'll F up what their numbers are, what they think. Like, think about this. Like, say 25% of us actually mail in our ballots, right? And they assume that roughly 100% of those ballots are actually going to be Democrat votes, or Kamala votes. And then they start opening and processing them, and all of a sudden 25% of that number is actually for Trump. Then all of a sudden now they got a huge problem because they figured and banked on, they only pre-printed so many, right? Like, that messes their number up. There's a lot of ways that we are going to screw with their system. They're telling us what they're going to do. We know what they're going to do. We saw them do this before. It's okay. We're at an information war. We're at war. We've been at war. This is a war, folks. It's not a pretend war. They got almost a war happening, a real one of those things where the nuclear bombs could rain down all over the place. But ultimately, no, this is really what's going on. Apparently, Merrick Garland is being sued by TikTok and ByteDance. What is this for? This is the oral argument scheduled for September 16th in regards to them, not shutting down this app or kicking them out for free speech reasons. Again, I don't think they should have them on government machines. Oh, yeah, the thing about this, that's right. That's what I was, checking on, was who signed this. Because all the people that are pushing to actually shut down an app, I was like, that's kind of a trip. That's like kind of a free speech thing. I don't know. And I wonder what they'd do with like Rumble, they're in Canada, or Telegram, they're in Russia, or, there's some other apps out there that aren't in, happy places. So one of the people that jumped out at me, there's 3 of them, I think. Steve Scalise, Majority Leader, he's onto this. He's like, no, yeah, kick that thing out. Now, Scalise got shot, and I feel bad for the dude, but I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Now, you guys might recognize some of these names. I don't. Nancy Pelosi's in there. I don't count her as one. I expect to see her on there. Any of the people that are Democrats, I would totally expect to see them on there. I'm trying to see if I can. Dan Crenshaw, there, bastard, right? He was the second one. I wasn't surprised, but almost expected to see that dirty bird like saying, yeah, we should get rid of something like this. Again, I think it's stupid to use it, and we've warned people and keep doing it. You're just giving your info away. Most people are like, yeah, but it's okay because, I don't know. I don't have anything to give up. And it's like, you really don't understand how much you do give up. But whatever. It is what it is. Like, people are going to do what they're going to do. I don't think we should try to say you can't use this application. Who was the other one? I think it's towards the bottom. Sorry, I'm just a little slow on this. Who the hell is he? Marsha Blackburn. That one bothered me. Tom Cotton's on there. Oh, 4. Josh Hawley. Fuck. Shit. Really? Where'd you guys come from? I didn't see those first time. Well, that sucks even worse. But I'm kind of not surprised. So we got some senators that are on board with this as well. This is instantly, Elise Stefanik. That was the one. That was the third one. I didn't see the Senate page part first time I looked at this. That bothers the crap out of me. May not you. Group of senators introduce a bill to end the military draft. Rand Paul's behind it. I hope it happens, I guess. So there's one Democrat, I guess, so it's bipartisan. Lloyd Austin has revoked the plea deals of those 9/11 terrorist guys. Remember how we talked about how it's almost like all the deep state people were coming out against it like it was a bad thing, and then I'm like, that's strange. I was saying this Friday, I'm like, that's kind of weird. Like, maybe that almost makes it like it's a good thing. Like, these guys are maybe going to tell the truth because they didn't actually do what they did because 9/11 was an inside job, right? Like none of the things that, like, these guys had box knives and you're saying they took over airplanes or did something else, because obviously the airplane guys didn't survive, which somehow the planes vaporized. So an interesting thing where Lloyd Austin comes in and says, yeah, no, you guys can't you can't do that. We can still kill you if we want, I think, is basically what he's saying. Death penalty is supposedly back on the table. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Richard Grinnell posted this: America has evacuated its citizens and our embassies more under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris than any other administration. Just something worth pointing out because they suck that bad. Oh, yeah, I don't want to spend too long on this, but guys, the Wellness Company, there's a strong chance they're going to try to hit us up with some stupid form of flu or bird flu or some form of virus. Okay, one of the best things that you can do that's out there right now, go to twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF. They've got the supplements. One, the spike proteins help. That kind of gets rid of the spike protein. It attaches a chemical to that spike protein so it can't possibly bind to the body. It's very helpful. So that's one thing. It's one of the supplements. They've also got some other great supplements. But the Contagion Med Kit is a must. It's an incredible product. Real doctors are involved in this. You're filling out information. We're going to try to go there again. You're filling out information. And so all of this is legal and correct and is for your health and everything else. Okay? This fixes a lot of things big time when it comes to viral stuff. Even lice, they're saying, which is kind of funny, scabies, strep throat. They're actually saying even one of these, if I think it's the med kit, it has the one that if you have a chance for Lyme disease, it actually has something in there that can help with that. All said, on this particular one, this is why I think this is the one that really kind of have for sure. The others are awesome as well. They have medical kits, first aid kits, travel first aid kits, like stuff you need. Really, go to twc.health/OTF. TWC, the Wellness Company. twc.health/OTF. This particular Contagion kit has ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, erythromycin, a generic version of it, and you're getting it supposedly at quite a reduced price, which is super cool. They've got generic Tamiflu, generic Pulmicort, and a nebulizer. So they've actually got the thing to help in the upper respiratory if it gets actually serious. This thing's got what you need per person. It's a person's worth. Again, if there's you and a wife, you might want to consider getting 2, because most likely if you both get sick, one of you gets sick, the other's probably, right? Like, I don't know. Just saying. It's up to you, right? But that said, this is a powerful pack that has all the goodies in it, and it can make sure you get through this process healthily. And it's all in one kit. There's instructions. Again, it's done through doctors. It's a fabulous thing. So twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF. Seriously, take your matters into your own hand, because we can't trust them. I think that's pretty obvious at this point. So the U.S. Congress put this out. There's a joint resolution to authorize the use of the United States Armed Forces against the Islamic Republic of Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons. This was put through by Lindsey Graham. I don't know if it's been voted on yet. I'm not 100% sure of that. But yeah, nothing to see here, but they're only trying to gaslight and greenlight the possibility of going to war with Iran. They want Armageddon. That's what they want. So they're back to trying to do this because they need something to interfere with the elections. They need something to interfere with what we're doing right now. They need to keep power and control. So we know about the assassinations of the Hamas leader in Iran and likely of the war. Why did I want to open it? Maybe? Oh, this guy. Yeah, let's let him talk.
A very, very bumpy weekend, and there's the potential of this turning into a full-scale war, regional war.
Right. I mean, in terms of an Iranian response, you would think that it would have to respond to the political leader of Hamas being killed in a guest house that's run by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. I mean, what an embarrassment that is to the regime. But then on the other hand, he was apparently killed, according to reports, by a bomb that was secreted in the guest house months ago. And Israel has not claimed responsibility. So could it have been an inside job? And if Iran responds to something that was an inside job, then it makes a big mistake.
I'm sure that Israel is behind it, but they probably had the help on the ground. However it was done, whether it was done, as you mentioned, as the New York Times reported, it was placed there months ahead of time, or whether it was a quadcopter or some other kind of projectile sent through the windows, it's an incredible embarrassment to the regime. They can't protect somebody that's in one of their secure facilities. There are people on the ground who are helping the Israelis. It's really remarkable. And but on the other hand, they can't take it sitting down.
John Kirby, the Security Council spokesman, was on America's Newsroom this morning. He was asked by Bill Hemmer about the potential that this was an inside job. Listen to what he said.
Was this an inside job?
I'm going to be limited into what I can talk about here. We're not in a position to verify the details that are coming out in some of the press reporting on this.
Can you say that Israel has help inside of Iran in ways that maybe a lot of people in this world did not understand before?
I cannot.
I mean, you could read that two ways. It's like, I can't talk about this because I don't have any information, or this is something I can't talk about.
I read it as they're playing with the heads of the Iranians, and because they know the Iranians don't actually know what happened, and they're doing a great, a wide investigation to try to figure it all out, and they're messing with their heads.
Right. So Iran responded back in April to an assassination that took place in Damascus. And the United States and Israel intercepted, I think it was 99.2% of the projectiles that were fired. There was some 300 of them that were fired. But they came a long way from Iran, and they're pretty easy to identify. If Iran got together with Hezbollah, which is a lot closer to Israel, and they launched a coordinated strike, retaliatory strike against Israel, it seems to me that would be a lot more problematic in terms of interception.
It's going to be very devastating for Israel, which is not to say that Israel is going to lose the engagement, but it's going to suffer significantly. I mean, you already saw last Saturday in Majd al-Shams, the Iranians sent a rocket. The early warning system went off, but it didn't give the kids on the soccer field enough time to get to the shelters. So there's going to be a lot of that. There are going to be projectiles that get through. There are going to be some that are just moving so quickly that the Israelis don't have time to do anything about it. And for that reason, if Hezbollah does get involved and it launches a very significant strike against the Israelis are going to go into Lebanon, I think, on the ground. Ooh. And I think they're going to go in full scale. They have to.
Wow. Hard to think that they could go in full scale when they've been so tied up in Gaza and so depleted in their munitions, but we'll see.
They've had a couple days, though, to get everybody to the north they need to.
It would be nice to avoid an all-out war. We'll see if that'll happen. Michael?
If they literally go in on the ground, then Turkey gets involved. I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I guess partially doubtful it will, but I don't know. We're at that place where this kind of stuff should happen. There's a lot of us that have been talking about something crazy's coming. This would affect the stock market too, by the way. And this would actually work for that, and it might give the cover for Taiwan. Who knows, right? Like, we that thing needs to happen, and we're far enough out from the election right now. I don't know. Again, this is deep state versus the white hats when it comes to the global war and global theater, global overall what's being portrayed and shown and how it plays out. So again, don't know. It'll be powerful, to say the least. Let's see, Secret Service. Butler Rally was the first event that the Secret Service actually deployed counter snipers. Interesting. Wonder if they knew something somehow. Because it's the first time they ever did. The one time they needed counter snipers, even though they didn't actually shoot Trump, maybe that was just because they needed somebody to take out the guy, your take out the person that's supposed to be blamed for it, right? Your patsy. There we go. Kind of strange. Like they were planning for this all along. Trump's lucky, that's for sure. U.S. Acting Director Ronald Rose says agents who violated policy during Trump's shooting will be held accountable. We don't need to play all of his stuff. This was a failure, he said. We should have known better, or should have had better protection for our protectee. We should have had better coverage on that roof line. Okay, everything we've heard. Now, word on the street is he was actually involved in signing off on some of this stuff. So Mayorkas may very well have just put in somebody that's going to do their best to cover this up. Guy's talking real good. I'll be honest. I liked what he was saying when he was talking to Congress, but I have minimal faith that he's the right guy. Josh Hawley pointed this out in regards to Susan Crabtree. Susan said, at the first Secret Service press conference I've seen in 12 years, Acting Secret Service Director Ron Rowe insists that the Secret Service didn't know that Crooks had a gun until he opened fire. Josh Hawley says the Secret Service was in charge of this event and in charge of local law enforcement. USSS lack of knowledge about events transpiring over nearly 2 hours at their own event is inexcusable. 100% agree. Rep. Corey Mills is doing his own investigation. I don't want to burn 4 minutes on that. It's good. It was decent. Chinese national was arrested, though, by the way, for repeatedly trying to get into Mar-a-Lago. He claims, though, he's got proof of China trying to assassinate Trump on the July 13th thing. Says he has proof. I don't know. Secret Service didn't take kindly to it. He tried more than once. Let's say he's now basically arrested for simpler terms. A little bit of Trump stuff going on. President Trump on heaven and hell. What the heck?
But religion, it gives you some hope. Gee, if I'm good, I'm going to heaven.
Do you believe in heaven?
I do. If I'm good, I'm going to heaven. And if I'm bad, I'm going to someplace else, like over there, right? But it gives you, there's something that is so good for a country. We lost a lot.
When you pray, what do you pray for?
Well, I pray for our country. I pray for the same thing you pray. Our family and our country. We have a family, we have a country. And I guess we have a world. I pray for the world too.
Yeah, we have to pray for the world. We got to pray for everybody. But he's right. Family and country first, kind of, right? And then you start to think outside of that. There's a writ of certiorari of the United States Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. Long story short, Trump won. Donald Trump versus the United States. Not 100% sure which one this is tied into, but he's recovering $3,232.80. So he won, got some money back even. It's official. Trump Jan 6 case to resume after presidential immunity ruling. I think it's the 13th that they're saying this was going to start. August 16th, sorry. Judge Chutkan's going to begin kind of getting back into this again. Also expecting, I think, September for Mershon to go ahead and do his final ruling on what, if Trump's got to serve jail time or something. That's going to be interesting, right? Right before the election, put Trump in jail for, 3 months, so he can't actually go right up to. I wonder how that would play out. I mean, it would probably immediately be stayed, I'm sure, because it'd be so ridiculous, and it would be obvious election interference. And seeing him do it, especially after us talking about him doing something like that. So say he keeps him in long enough to cross over the election, so that last month he can't campaign. I don't know. We'll see. They're going to try everything. And when it doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, and when it doesn't work, they'll try the next thing. It's all going to lead up to, and then I think there's going to be an expectation nationwide from everybody that they're going to do some shenanigans, hardcore election day. We saw what happened in Venezuela with Maduro. Not a surprise. Trump truth this out. Can anybody believe that I am still under harsh gag order placed on me by highly conflicted, unelected, and acting New York judge? He's doing this, by the way, to torment this dude. He does this because he wants Mershon to do what I was just talking about. He says he makes it very difficult to campaign, especially when crazy Kamala Harris is using this witch hunt against me. Every major legal scholar and pundit has said that this case is a scam and a hoax and that I did nothing wrong. Story after story has been written that the judge had no right to do what he did, that it was a political decision against the opponent of crooked Joe Biden and crazy Kamala. It is unprecedented in the United States history. The gag order should be voided at once, and based on the immunity decision just handed down by the U.S. Supreme Court, and for many other reasons, this case should be immediately terminated. Now, this one had just Trump basically talking about the debate. He's trying to set up a new debate with Kamala. He wants to do it at Fox. And he's like, look, here's the thing. The debate that we talked about was with Biden and I. I destroyed Biden in July, and so Biden dropped out. That agreement, essentially, Trump is saying, that agreement doesn't carry over to Kamala Harris. Though Kamala's like, why aren't you going to debate at the agreed upon time? You weren't the person he agreed to debate. Not that he's afraid to debate you, which is what they're trying to say. He's like, no, let's have another debate for sure. Here's the date. It'll be earlier than that. It's going to be with Fox, Brett Baier and Martha McCollum, two people I don't like, right? But the difference is they're not going to feed the questions in advance like ABC will, or CBS, or whichever one's doing this one. I think it's ABC this time. Trump's like, no. So now everybody's trying to say that Trump's scared. You guys know, everybody knows Trump's not scared. He's going to destroy Kamala Harris. Once again, they're going to have to figure out a way to not have her debate him. Now, again, I don't know if the date he's providing, if September 4th, I don't know when he's supposed to get, when Merchan's going to do his thing. I want to say it's after that. So maybe he's trying to intentionally make sure it's not before or not after, because that'd be interesting. Because if he's in jail, he obviously can't debate, which would be election interference, unquestionably. But this individual, who I can't even pronounce their name, they said Michael Tyler Harris, campaign communications director, reacts to Trump's debate statement. Donald Trump is running scared and trying to back out of the debate he's already agreed to, and running straight to Fox News to bail him out. He didn't agree to the debate with Harris ever. He was going to debate Biden. He had 2 debates set down. He destroyed Biden on the first debate. That was the agreement. Because Biden dropped out doesn't mean his agreements now transfer over to Harris. Doesn't mean his money transfers over to Harris. No, that's not what it means. So they are playing some major shenanigans, major mind games, major 5G warfare. Miranda Devine says Kamala Harris wants to use this excuse not to debate at all. She's probably going to. Well, if you're just not going to play by our rules, then right? Like whatever crazy-ass stupid thing she's going to say. I guarantee it'll be a crazy-ass stupid thing too, because it's Kamala Harris. It's what she mastered in. She's an expert at crazy-ass stupid shit. Trump agrees to debate on the Fox News, but Harris insists on ABC. Well, let's see what happens. She'd get destroyed, and everybody knows it. She got beat by Tulsi Gabbard, and that's not any sort of slam towards Tulsi. Tulsi's awesome. I love Tulsi. She's the best in the world. Trump, no offense, and I think Tulsi would agree, Trump could probably walk circles around Tulsi, right? Like, it's just, Trump's awesome. And Harris got rocked by Tulsi Gabbard. It's just going to be a bloodbath. We said that word again. It's going to be ridiculous if Harris actually has a debate with Trump. There's no way she can. She's an idiot. Kyle Rittenhouse put out an official statement basically saying all the stuff he said recently was stupid, and he's changed his mind. He's 100% on board with Donald Trump. Yeah, because you got so much hate mail, and you lost so many subscribers all in one moment. You essentially just lost a fortune because you said something super stupid. Yeah. If you say stupid stuff all the time, your audience will expect it like mine does. You got to work your shit right, man. Come on. They expect stupid shit from me every once in a while. Wow. And that's part of my thing, right? England's finally pissed. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's actually the English, though, the British. I don't think it's the British. I think it's actually, they've got the civil unrest happening because they've got this group of people, the armed mob of migrants. They've taken to the streets of Stoke, England. They're hunting down anti-immigrant protesters with hammers, machetes, and axes while shouting, Allahu Akbar. No guns, though, of course, right? Because you guys got rid of the guns, so thank God nobody can ever get injured. So fucking stupid. I'm sorry. Just the stupidest. I know our culture is different here, so anybody that's like, dude, you're stupid. You guys, everybody has a gun. You can shoot and kill everybody. Yeah, that's what kind of keeps people from doing it. Dude's not going to walk up to me with a hammer when he knows I've probably got something else, right? Like, and again, I like Peter, Paul, and Mary, so if I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, hammer in the evening, all over this town. Hammer of danger, hammer of justice, hammer of warning. Anyway, U.S. sues TikTok over child privacy violations. Again, this is the kind of stuff that should happen. This is how you attack a company that's doing illegal stuff. Right? You don't just shut them down. I don't think that's right. I don't know. Whatever. I don't like TikTok. I actually do have an account. I've been putting my shorts up on it. I absolutely despise them also. I think they're easily as bad as YouTube in my mind, though I have, videos I post on YouTube still. What are you going to do? Right? You got to put shit out there. But the Justice Department trying to shut it down. They're supposedly collecting children's data. They're using it without the children giving their permission, or they're knowingly allowing children that are under 13 or whatever to create accounts. First off, 13's really sketchy too. It's almost worse because they're kind of past that puberty moment in time. So now you're starting to get into your sexual part of your life where you're already confused in your voice. If you're a dude's doing weird stuff, and if you're a chick, you're just nuts, I think. I don't know. You guys never made sense to me ever in my life. But whatever. I love y'all. It's the problem. It's a weird dichotomy that exists. We'll see how things play out, folks. There's a lot is going on. Just be prepared. Be prepared best you can. I don't know when. We don't know how. But we can see what they're talking about doing. We know they're going to do it. They're going to do it in their own way and time. But it's coming, and they're running out of time. This election's a pretty solid line in the sand, that needs to be dealt with. That needs to be acknowledged, because they either got to make the election move, or they've got to get things fixed by then, or take control by then, or whatever they're trying to do. This is going to be interesting. And I think a lot of fallout's going to happen after the election finally happens, and then the deep state's going to finally just do its last push and try to do some crazy stuff to see if they can start World War before Trump comes into office. Again, a lot's going to be happening. Be prepared, be cool, understand that, many of us weren't awake during 9/11, and we are now. And, it's just, I told you so is not something you should say or we should hear ever. It's something that we just acknowledge that we've woken up and we now realize we're here to help. So please be part of that train. I love it. I love you guys for helping, for being here, and for going shoulder to shoulder with me. Much more intimidating than just one of us trying to walk down the street looking like a dork. At least I got like a whole crap ton of you guys with me. It makes me feel much better. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio style.